Okay. Good morning, everybody. I am very thrilled to be here, and what a wonderful position to be in, standing between all of you and lunch. My name is Sandy Cislo, and I am pastor of Cokesbury United Methodist Church. On the roll, 70, in worship, approximately 30, depending on the time of year, as you all might know. When I first started thinking about what I was going to talk about this morning, what came to mind when I think about what gives us hope in my church, it's our ability to care in context, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But that's only possible because of connections. And I love the word connections. It's a very Methodist word, right? We're a connectional church. And it is only through, first of all, our connection to God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, who then provides for us connections and resources that make ministry possible. That's the reality that we've seen in our little church. And that's a picture of our little church. I'm a visual learner, so I'm pointing back, I'm sorry. I'm a visual learner, so I like to have pictures up there. So context, we know what that means, right? I'm going to put the definition up there, and I want to tell you, I want to start with a story. My daughter attended college in New York, Hudson Valley, New York. And one holiday season during her Christmas break, she brought a friend home who was born and raised in Buffalo. And one evening, we were sitting in the living room, my daughter, her friend, my husband, and I. And my husband said to me, what was the name of that lady that we saw today at the Walmart? We had been out shopping. And I said, you know, I cannot for the life of me remember her name. You know, it's an age thing. I can't remember her name at all. But I know she's an old hooker. Well, I heard a couple gasps. Well, my daughter's friend about fell out of her chair in shock. That, first of all, I'm the pastor of a church, and I'm talking about old hookers. And I met one at Walmart. What she didn't understand was the context. In my little town of Marcus Hook, Pennsylvania, if you've lived there for a while, you're a hooker. If you've lived there for a long while, you are an old hooker. So the reality is that the pastor of the Cokesbury United Methodist Church in Marcus Hook is an old hooker. It's true. So one of the great things for us, one of the ways that we have found hope and inspiration and encouragement, even being a small church, is that we have been so blessed to connect with this great community that we're a part of. Now, like a lot of little towns, it's run into its difficulties. There was a heyday when it had a bustling downtown and was a thriving business community, but it fell on hard times, like so many places do. Industries changed and left. Now, you can see some of our difficulties that we struggle with. It's a transient community. It's landlocked. We're not blessed with new developments going up around us that offer the opportunity for growth. It's a high poverty community, one of the highest in our district, our school district. We struggle with all those things that come along with poverty, drug and alcohol abuse. It's a rough and tumble kind of town. Bikers and pirates are sort of part of our history. But on the other hand, I want to tell you that our community is resilient. They are historic. We go not only through things like Blackbeard the pirate, who hung out with his girlfriend in our town. And as a matter of fact, right down the street from the church, there's a house that is supposedly the house of Blackbeard's girlfriend. But also on the banks of the Delaware River, which we share, part of our community, the Captain Thomas Webb, revolutionary soldier and Wesley convert, preached and sowed the seeds that were the beginning of the congregation that would become Cokesbury and eventually many of the other congregations in our immediate area. They're proud people, courageous people. You have to be if you live straddled on two sides by refineries, right? You got to be brave. Very down to earth, a history of firefighters, abolitionists. We were a stop on the Underground Railroad. So one of the things that has given us tremendous hope is our ability as a small congregation to be in the community, to be part of it, to understand the needs, and to be able to minister as God has led us. One of the things we do is we have a food pantry. It started out as a little emergency food pantry with just a few shelves of food, and we'd get a phone call and somebody would meet a person at church, and we'd hand out food. And that has exploded to a huge pantry, which we had to take one whole room of the church and just designate it for that because of the economic distress in our area. And so many other pantries, so many other churches just stopped doing that kind of ministry. So now we do a monthly food distribution. We have weekly Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. We have a community VBS. It's not for the church necessarily, it's for the whole community. We have kids programs. We have all kinds of other things. One thing I want to mention also is our Sunday supper. That's a fairly new ministry for us. It's only in its second year. But what was interesting about it was the way that it came about. We said, you know, we have this food pantry, and a woman came to me and she said, we have this food pantry and that's cool, but what about a meal? What about giving folks a meal? But more than that, what about bringing people together for community, for fellowship, for relationship? And we said, well, we don't know how we're going to pay for that because we don't have any money. But, you know, when God decides, God provides. And so we stepped out. And we thought, well, all right, we'll do it for a couple of months. We'll see what happens. And lo and behold, we opened the doors. People came. We have anywhere from 60 to 80 people on the first Sunday of the month. And we have families who provide the food. And the cool thing about it is that we sit together. We share together. We fellowship together. It's community. It's about relationships. And it's been quite a blessing for us. So when I talk about connections, I speak of them in the sense that these are connections that God has laid out for us. This is not anything we would have thought up on our own. And the first is an interesting relationship that we have with the school district. Now, it's a long story to explain how I answered the call to ministry, but I will say that God laid it out in such a way that I'm a bivocational person, if you read my bio, but my call to be pastor of the church came at exactly the same time as I ended up working for the school district, which was going to be a temporary job. 20 years down the line, I still work for the school district, and I'm still pastoring the church. But what happened was, and I never would have known that it would happen, was that God has used that job, that other vocation of mine, that other ministry of mine, to put us in positions to serve the community in ways that we never would have been able to otherwise. The school district also does things like food drives, which they give the food to our pantry. We have such a great relationship coordinating with the social workers in the district. We're able to provide for the needs of families as they are made known to us. They provide resources for a program I'm going to talk about in just a minute, a reading and lunch program that came about through that combination of school district and church. Also, business organizations. Who would think, you know, when God is setting you on a road to do ministry and God is providing for you, you need to look around and see where are these resources that we might be able to tap into for this particular ministry? Who are these people who are going to help us? And one of them was Rotary, interestingly enough, in connecting with ministering to families in the neighborhoods. Also, matching donations. One of our refineries offers their employees a matching donation. If they donate to our food pantry, the company actually matches that donation. Funding for reading and lunch program through different businesses and organizations that we've been able to get to go on board with us and partner with us in ministry. Also, of course, our great United Methodist connection, our connectional churches. They are instrumental in helping us, especially I have to mention my sister church, Linwood Heights United Methodist. Pastor Ethel Guy is sitting back there. And we work so closely together, and if we did not have their support in fellowship and ministry, I don't know how we would manage. God put her there and that church there to be a support for us. And the other connection churches with funding for our reading and lunch program especially. The annual conference. Let's not forget that we are part of this connectional organization. And the conference offers us support in different ways. Our reading program is part of an advanced special. It's one of the advanced specials. And the DeWeese grant, we've managed to get that a couple times, one for our reading and lunch program and also for our Sunday supper program. So God provides in very interesting and different ways if we just prayerfully open our eyes to see where God is leading us. Our reading and lunch program is one of the things that came about through our school district coordination, and that was the school district wasn't able to do this anymore. They just abruptly one year said, oh, sorry, we can no longer do the reading and lunch program that the community depended on, and it took us 1 year to get in place, and for the last 7 years, the school district has provided, or the church has provided this reading and lunch program. And I just want to say, if you've ever had 60 or 70 kids in a church with one bathroom, and when I say one bathroom, I mean one toilet and one sink, you don't know what faith is. But it's worked. I just want to say, too, that it has always been the mission of Cokesbury United Methodist Church. They've always envisioned themselves as the community church. It's been their call from the beginning. They answered the call, and we continue to move forward with that. We believe that it is our job to love God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love our neighbor as ourselves. And we find continuing strength through John Wesley's sermon, The Use of Money. And I just want to read the first couple lines. Employ whatever God has entrusted you with in doing good, all possible good, in every possible kind and degree, to the household of faith, to all men. Give all you have, as well as all you are, a spiritual sacrifice to him who withheld not from you his son, his only son, so laying up in store for yourselves a good foundation against the time to come, that you may attain eternal life. So we give all we have and all we are to do the ministry that he's called us to do, and we're blessed to be there.